In this video, I'm going to share with you why the 4 best months to visit Rome are finally here. We've got November, December, January, February, even into March are all excellent times to visit Rome. To visit Italy in general, but Rome specifically. If you've been thinking about visiting Italy in the off season, this is the right video. I've got lots to share with you. Let's get started. Of my 4 favorite months to be in Rome, and if you include March, that's 5 months, I'm going to share with you the pluses and the minuses of each so you can make a really good decision of when you should visit Italy, Rome specifically. And I'm going to share with you specific things you can do in each of the months or look forward to doing in each of the months, starting in November with All Saints' Day on November 1st. Before we talk about All Saints' Day and the other things you can do in November, you might be wondering, how's the weather? The weather to many people, it's very important. It's a deciding factor of whether they should visit a place or not, depending on the weather. And I'm here to tell you that the weather in November, in my opinion, is ideal. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. Now, as you progress through the month, it does slowly get cooler, especially in the mornings and the evenings, but a light jacket is usually all you need. And does it rain? Well, it does at times, but nothing significant. Usually, an hour here, an hour there, nothing major. It won't disrupt your holiday. Traveling to Rome in November, in my opinion, as far as the weather goes, it is ideal. A quick note, as far as tourists go for the month of November, it's still fairly busy in the first couple of weeks in November, but as the month progresses, you see a noticeable slowdown in tourism. Fewer and fewer people are there, the lines become shorter. It's still an ideal time, and you're gonna spend less time in lines whether you're visiting the sites or whether you're trying to get into a restaurant. So another real advantage of visiting November are the smaller crowds, especially towards the end of the month. You might be wondering, do they celebrate Halloween in Italy? Well, they do to a limited extent. You're gonna see small children dressed up in costumes, oftentimes not going from residence to residence, but they'll oftentimes just go down the main streets into the stores, and the stores will hand out some candy. It's kind of cute if you're there. You can participate in that, or at least, observe that. And then the real holiday starts November 1st and November 2nd. November 1st is All Saints' Day. It's a day where they go to Mass, and it's a tradition in the Catholic Church. They honor the saints, whether they're canonized or not. They have some community events, but the real fun starts on November 2nd, which is All Souls' Day. It's when almost every Italian heads to a cemetery to honor the dead. If you go to the cemeteries in Rome throughout the year, they're always very interesting, but very few people are in them. On All Souls Day, November 2nd, they're crowded and super interesting to visit. So if you happen to be in Italy, whether you're in Rome or anywhere in Italy, and you're there on November 2nd, head to a cemetery near you. If you're in Rome, there's a great cemetery called the Verano Cemetery. It's absolutely massive. It's a city in and of itself, and super interesting. It's quite an eye-opener for me. I'm from the States, and our cemeteries are nothing like those that you're gonna find in Italy. And the one in Rome at the Verano Cemetery was super interesting. Lots of interesting things to take a look at. And yeah, you'll be there with all the other Italians honoring the dead on All Souls Day. Another thing I forgot to mention on All Saints' Day, November 1st, there's a run called Corso dei Santi. Let's go, people! It's a 10K run, just over 6 miles, where you get to walk or run past 4 of the major basilicas in Rome, the only 4. You've got St. Peter's Basilica, Santa Maria Maggiore, St. Paul outside the wall, and St. John in Lateran. It's quite an experience, so yeah, if you're in Rome and you want to run or walk, it's a great thing to do on All Saints' Day. If you find yourself in Rome on November 2nd, All Souls Day, another really fun thing to do in the evening is to head to Tiber Island. At Tiber Island, there's a small church, and in there they have a special mass. It's performed by the Brotherhood of the Red Coats. This is a brotherhood that's been going back for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they took care of the dead, and many of the people that washed up along the Tiber River, I guess in those days, bodies floated down the river when they died. They would take those bodies in, lay them on the shores, and if they weren't claimed, they would then hold a burial for them, and they'd put them into this crypt. So at the end of the Mass, you go down to the river, they throw a wreath in, and they do a little ceremony there on the banks of the Tiber River.
Per Cristo nostro Signor. Amen.
I just want to say that this video is not sponsored by anybody. The way I survive as a small YouTuber is by you guys liking the videos, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos, and ultimately subscribing to the channel. So if you're interested in Rome, consider subscribing. It really does help us out. And if I don't deliver good quality videos in the future, you can always unsubscribe. Again, thanks for the support. And right after that, you get to go into a special crypt that's only open one day a year on November 2nd. And you go in there and you get to see the bones of those that were washed up, and some of the members of the Brotherhood of the Redcoats. Super interesting. So if you're there, be sure to head over there. And for a tradition that's been going on for so long, it's really not that crowded. I was surprised by that. When Kim and I went there, it was fairly full, but there were still some seats available for anybody else who wanted to show up. So take advantage of that opportunity. It's quite memorable. Also worth noting, in November, there is actually a couple of days where they have the Rome Jazz Festival. They have a tango festival certain days. There's a time where they turn the museums into concert halls. It's on a specific day. And the nice thing about that is it's free. So you can go check out a concert in one of the museums, one of the many museums. And for more information, check the internet for that. But that kind of gives you an idea of just some of the things you can do in November. Now, let's move on to December. Now let's talk briefly about December. How's the weather in December? Typically, December is a cooler month, but it doesn't get below freezing very often. And if it does get below freezing, it's typically just for a short period of time early in the morning. You don't have to worry about snow or anything like that. It's fairly mild, but cool and crisp, I'd say. The days are shorter, so, prepare for that. And you may have to bring an umbrella because it will rain on you, especially if you're in Rome long enough in December. You're going to have some rain here or there. And it's usually not a long day event. It usually doesn't interrupt your traveling and touring of the city.
Moonbeams in late December always make me believe, 'cause Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night, yeah.
December really is unlike any other month as far as crowds go. The first couple of weeks of December are fairly quiet, very enjoyable, but not a ton of tourists. And the second couple of weeks, about a week before Christmas, all the way till the Epiphany on January 6th, chaos returns to Rome. It gets very busy, but it's mostly Italians coming into the capital to enjoy the holidays. So it's a great time to be in Rome despite the crowds. Yes, you're going to have to wait in lines at restaurants, at the major sites and things like that, like you would in the summertime. However, it being kind of a more of a festival, fun atmosphere, it's just, in my opinion, more enjoyable. And again, standing in a very hot, long line is a lot harder to do than a cold one, I guess. But, maybe it just depends what you like as far as the weather. But I just know the attitude of most of the Romans is much better and happier and more enthusiastic in December than it is after being worn down throughout the summer. So yeah, visit Rome in December. It's a great idea, whether you're visiting the first half of the month when it's less busy, or even during the high peak season during Christmas and the Epiphany. And by the way, New Year's in Rome is pretty incredible. If you're interested in supporting our channel, there's a few ways you can do that. You can share this video with your friends, maybe others that are heading to Italy. You can purchase and buy us a gelato. We love gelato. We love pizza. buy us a slice of pizza, or you can simply purchase our travel guide. Our travel guide has over 10 hours of helpful videos, a 65-page plus PDF, lots of information in it. It has interactive maps to help you locate the best gelaterias, restaurants, pasticherias, hotels, Airbnbs, and so much more. It's kind of like the opposite of travel insurance. Travel insurance is to protect you when things go wrong. Our guide is to protect you from things going wrong. Quite a big difference. We really do want you to have a great time in Italy. Be sure to check it out, and I'll leave a discount code where you can pick it all up for less than $30. On November 8th in Italy, it is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. It's where they celebrate the Mother Mary, and the major festivities are at La Basilica di Santa Maria Maggiore. It is one of the major basilicas. It's located not far from the Termini train station, just on the edge of the Monte neighborhood. So if you find yourself in Rome, be sure to head over there in the evening and participate. It is also the official kickoff to the Christmas season for Italy. From the Feast of the Immaculate Conception on December 8th all the way to the Epiphany on January 6th, Rome is in party mode. It's festivity mode. So many fun things to do in Rome, from Christmas markets to midnight masses to New Year's Eve celebrations. It's just a super fun time to be in the city. Of all the months there are to spend your time in Rome, personally my favorite is December. And then you have the Epiphany on the 6th of January. And it's also La Befana Day. It's the day where they celebrate a witch comes. It's a witch day, and they have a big celebration over at Piazza Navona where a witch comes in on a broom. They hand out either gifts to the kids or coal, depending on whether they've been good or bad. Kind of like Santa Claus, I guess. But yeah, that takes place on the 6th of January. And then after that, the city gets kind of quiet for a while. So how cold is it in Rome in the month of January? January is the coldest month of the year in Rome, but that's relative because there are many places in the world much colder than Rome. And what I mean by cold is if it's going to snow in Rome, it would probably happen in January. It only snows in Rome maybe once every 5 or 10 years. But if it does do that, it would likely be in January, maybe early February. Many mornings, it does get down close to freezing, so it is chilly, but it does warm up pretty good during the day. Very comfortable. If you have a jacket or a coat, it's still not something that will stop you from touring the city or where you have to stay indoors all day because it's just so cold. It just doesn't get that cold in Rome. So even in January, it's a great time to visit Rome.
Oh my gosh, you're not looking at it.
Of all the months in Rome, January has the fewest tourists by far. It is the slowest month. It is kind of like a reset. It is where Rome kind of recharges for the most part. You know, is it in full swing? Are all the attractions open? All the sites, all the museums? Yes, they're all open, but the tourism is very slow. And if you're trying to avoid tourists and you want to get there where you don't have to stand in line for anything really, you know, maybe small lines at the Colosseum or at St. Peter's Basilica, but most of the restaurants you can just get right into, you would want to visit Rome in January. Despite the weather, it is one of the slowest months of Rome as far as crowds go. So depending on what you're looking for, it may be just perfect for you. But yeah, that's what you can expect as far as crowds in Rome in the month of January. What is there to do in Rome in the month of January? After the New Year's celebration and then the Epiphany on January 6th, the city really does quiet down for a little bit. All of the major sites, museums, all that stuff is still open, going strong. Yet, despite the crowds are smaller, everything is still open. So if you're coming there mainly just to enjoy the food and enjoy the major sites of Rome, January is a perfect month. You know, but if you're looking for something a little more exciting, holidays, special events, festivals, you may want to wait until at least February. The weather in February improves drastically as the month progresses. It does start out a little bit chilly in the mornings and maybe even chilly at night. By the end of February, it's quite nice. Despite the thought that winter is really still there, it's kind of more like spring in Rome in February, at least early spring. I find the weather to be very pleasant, especially as we progress through the month. But even in the beginning of February, it's still bearable. It's not all that cold. Kind of like January, but every day it does tend to improve. And then by the end of the month, you know, spring is springing and Rome is buzzing, and the weather is kind of, in my opinion, very enjoyable. Let's talk about the crowds in Rome in the month of February. February, the crowds start to reappear, but slowly by slowly, just as the weather starts to improve, so does the crowds. As far as improving, I mean getting bigger. As the month progresses, the crowds do start showing it back up in Rome, but nothing, you know, crazy. It's still very easy to get around, to get into restaurants, to get most of the sites. It's just not all that busy, as it is busy, but it's never that busy. The weekends are a little bit more busy than the weekdays, obviously. But as far as crowds go, don't worry. February is a fantastic month. Kind of a mix between great weather or good weather. Great weather is probably March, but good weather and low crowds. That would be February. Buongiorno. The month of February, there's actually a lot of things to do in Rome and throughout Italy. In Rome and throughout Italy, the first probably major holiday is St. Valentine's Day. There's lots of festivities. Just check the internet, what you're doing. A lot of great places, special menus at the restaurants. And then, more importantly, you start to get into the Carnival season. And Carnival is a huge holiday in Italy, in Rome too, and many of the cities have celebrations. Some of them are just a day long, some of them are a week or more long. And in Rome, they have certain festivities. You're gonna need to check the internet because the start of the Carnival and the end of the Carnival varies depending from year to year. But it's a fun time to be in Rome, lots of things to see and do. The biggest Carnival you probably have heard of, it's in Venice. And that's the biggest in all of Italy, but even Rome has quite a few festivities, and it's a great time to be in Rome as far as, you know, the sights and culture and all those things going on at the same time. February is fun. Now I want to talk a little bit about March. March is not of the 4 best months, but really is one of them. I mean, I said 4 best months. The 5th best month and one of the 4 best months is March. I'd rather be in Rome in March than in January. March, yes, it does start to get crowded, especially on the weekends, but the weather in March, in my opinion, is the best. April's nice too, but March is perfect for my liking. I love March weather, and then March, there's also a lot of fun things going on. You've got the Rome Marathon. Even if you're not a runner, it's just something that's kind of fun to watch. It's in mid-month. It's around the 15th or so. It depends. I think it changes from year to year what date that's on. But the Rome Marathon is a lot of fun. A lot of people from all over the world come in to compete in that. And then on the 15th of March, there is the reenactment of Caesar's assassination there at Largo, Argentina. They're in togas, and you can, if you're a history buff, you love it. You can go down and take a look at that. Very interesting. And there's a lot of other activities because the city is really waking up from winter. It's now spring. It's in full swing, and the Romans are just re-energized. They've had a nice rest between December, well, not so much December, but January and February, and now they're ready to, to have fun again. So yeah, March is fantastic, but so is February. If you enjoy street food, be sure to watch my video coming up right now, some of the best street food in Rome.